In this video, learn how to effectively combine tape reading and technical analysis to make a quality trade. Hi, I'm Mike Billiff here, a co-founder of S&B Capital, and we're a proprietary trading firm located in Midtown Manhattan. And I'm also the author of the trading classic, One Good Trade, and the playbook. In this video, we break down in step-by-step detail a winning trade in Dick's Sporting Goods using tape reading and technical analysis. Let's get to work on sharing these important trading lessons so you can grow your trading account.
All right, so this was a trade on Dick's Sporting Goods prior to their earnings release, or right after their earnings release 2 days ago. And so coming into this, you can see there's a nice consolidation forming, as well as is approaching high of day. So you can see high of day currently was set at $53.99, and price was approaching this level. And this is a setup I like to see a lot, where it's a fake breakout of high of day. And so for a setup like this, I like to see a key number such as 54. And as this is approaching 54, you'll be able to see a bunch of size on the tape, and then 54 will lift and then instantly drop, and then it's like unable to rebid after. So I'll get it started here. So now we can see price is approaching that previous high of day level. It's still in this nice consolidation though. After hours high was around 54.47, I believe. So as we're approaching this, we're starting to see these high 90s starting to defend a little bit. And for the last few hours, or for the last hour, every time prices came up to this, it's been a rejection. So I'm looking for a similar setup here. But ideally, I want to see this 54 lift and then instantly come back with size and then hold below. So there you go. You can see 54, bunch of size.
And Sam, what time of the day is this?
So this is around afternoon. I'm on Denver time, so this is 9:30, which would be 11:30 Eastern. And I'm just gonna go back really quick because this is the really important part. So we'll see we're at these 94s. High day is still 99. We come back. So right now I'm getting ready. And then you can see all this size on the level 2 a little farther back, and then once we come up, yeah, so there's the size. It's holding, and then you see it lift. I'll pause that right there. So you can see it lift, flick up to set a new high of day at 54.09, as you see there. And then instantly it flicks up, grabs all those orders. I like to consider that either kind of a stop hunt, entice. So it's like two things. It's running a lot of people's stops, as well as enticing a lot of those momentum bulls. So a lot of people that are thinking about getting long in this, that don't want to get long in the consolidation, they're going to wait for this 54 level to lift and hit in long, as well as a lot of shorts will be stopped out of their position there. So this is kind of a great opportunity to get a good entry at a great price, as well as kind of catch everyone off sides. So right when I see that, I see 54 lift and then instantly come back and protect it with size. And then now you'll see, I think 54 lifts once more, but it's not a significant lift. It just lifts 2 cents. Yeah, so it lifts to 05, 02, and then now it's back to 54 and it's holding. So right here is a great place to be considering hitting in short, risking that 54.09 level.
All right, good. Excellent example right here of some resistance on the tape. Excellent example right here of a signal that we can get just from the tape. So if we see a level, we lift that level, but then we reoffer that level, can't hold above that level, leak through that level, we re-offer that level after there's some decent amount of volume being done. That in of itself is a signal from the tape, from the level 2, that there is some weakness here. But I'm not making that trade in this market, in this stock, just based on that particular signal. We put our trades together and use different variables. So we want to think about what's the news catalyst in this particular stock? What's the daily chart look like? What's the intraday chart look like? What's the tape look like? What's our intuition? We're putting variables together. So this is one of the variables that we're going to use to make a good trade. And you have definitely highlighted a clear signal from the tape that we may want to be short. And the mirror image of that would be true as well. So if this was a support area where we couldn't get below, we wick below support, we leak below support, and then we rebid, maybe we leak below support one more time and we rebid, then that is a sign of strength from our level 2, based upon our tape reading skills. But I'm not making this trade, and I wouldn't advise you to make this trade, except for the fact if you see on your intraday chart a significant resistance area. If you see that 54 tested 2-3 times before that, and this is another confirmation that there isn't significant buying above. Because we've got a stock that's gapped up, we've got a stock that's gapped and ran right on the open, and yes, we're seeing that resistance at 54, but to be seeing the turn, to be calling for the stock to then start to be going down, I'm going to expect a lot for my charts and for my tape to be counter trend trading this particular move. Okay, so I'm not going to take this 54 that seriously unless I see on my intraday chart some resistance. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I would say there are other times I would take it if I saw resistance, but not based on your chart. Your chart is it's gone up and now it's going sideways. The stock is showing strength overall in the day up until this point. If it had run up and it was steep and it was parabolic, and then we saw that at 54, we saw your signal from the level 2 at 54, I would take it for a scalp then as well. But it would have to be really, really steep. So when we're looking at an intraday chart that's consolidating, I'm going to need, at least sort of a triple top intraday to be thinking that I'm going to take this short with this signal. Definitely, again, clear signal, but remember we use other variables as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think you see that actually. You actually do see that, right, on an intraday chart. It does make 3-4 attempts to get above this particular level, and it can't, right?
Yeah, I was gonna pull up the chart and show it as well, because it's pretty hard to see on this video, but to kind of show what I was looking at prior, kind of going into the trade.
If you want to learn 3 real-world setups that our traders use, including the simple setup that we teach all of our new traders, and the setup that turned one of our traders into a 7-figure big money earner, check out the free webinar that we're currently running. Just go ahead and click the link that should be appearing right now at the top right-hand corner of your screen. That's going to open up this free registration page in the new window, so don't worry, you're not going to lose this video. You're going to learn more in a couple of hours from this trading workshop than from years of online education.
You can see how clear 54 was a level of resistance. That kind of caught my attention just as a technical level. And then paired with this tape setup, I ended up thinking it was a pretty strong kind of reversal scalp.
Good, I agree. I agree when you add that chart setup, when you add the fact that it can't get above that level on the chart a bunch of different times. Good.
All right, yeah, so coming in, you can see that this 54 level, it leaked a little bit above, topped out at 54.42. But you can see every single time pre-market, whenever it got up to this level, just instant rejection. And then this final push at right before the open was kind of another clear indication, as well as this opening push failure on the open. So when we got this steep retrace and this consolidation, this is one of my favorite setups. When you get that leak, everyone thinks it's going to be the momentum break they've been waiting for. And then all of a sudden it just flushes down. And then I'll flip back to the tape and show the aftermath of this trade. And then also, I just wanted to point out that coming in, I was a little bit short biased at these highs just because from my personal view, their earnings were a huge beat due to their EPS, just blowout EPS and e-commerce sales. But I was coming in kind of a little bit bearish on this because it was up a good amount. And I kind of believe that their sales have been like pulled forward a good amount because of Corona. So like everyone during Corona has been a lot more interested in outdoors activity and sporting stuff. So they've been going out and buying this, and I really didn't think that their sales were going to be able to be sustained at these levels in the future. And I thought of a lot of investors too. So I thought this could be a great profit-taking run, or as well as just kind of a support resistance at 54. I couldn't see it clearing that pre-market high. So that was just my short bias coming in at these highs. And so now we're already holding under that 54 level. You can see some sizes coming on at 95. '91s are holding, and now there's a step down seller. So this is also what's really interesting. You can see in these 80s, whenever price steps down, the size steps down with it. A little battle at 75 here. You can see these, whenever there's battles, it's at some of these intraday levels, especially when it's trying to break through some of this consolidation. It's going to need a lot of selling pressure to be able to break through this consolidation. So now I'm looking at this lower high. This would be a possible place to add if it continues to hold under 53.90. If it comes back above or to that 50, let's see where this is at. Yeah. So now it's breaking down a little bit. I'll fast forward because I think it's a little bit of chop in here. You can see these 70s are holding for a while. 80s, it's coming back. So this is pretty good lower high to add on. And then this is when we start to get the flush on the breakdown. So that last attempt to break out in those 90s.
And Sam, also when I look at that price action, if it could hold below 75 cents cleanly, that's going to be trigger for it to go lower based on your level 2.
Yeah, exactly. So during that whole period, you can see whenever it came down to 75, it held. It's coming down to these 70s again, and it's holding. So now the next level, exactly that you pointed out, I'm watching that these 70 range on the bid to drop, and then after those drop, I'm expecting the continued move lower. So, all right, here's the drop of 75. You can see a bunch of size at 73s. And then right when this size steps down and drops, and then we start to see the flush. We're seeing the offers step down. And now I'm looking for that 75 that was previous support to be holding as resistance. I don't want price to rebid above that. So we can see it's still pretty thick in these 60s. So right in 60s drop, we get a good, nice flush, 7 cents there. And then now it's coming into kind of psychological level, 50 cents. expecting to see some fight here. We see it get bought back up a little bit. But you can see on all these attempts for it to get bought back up, there's really no volume. All the true volume coming in is selling pressure. And on all these attempts to come back up are just lower high re-add opportunities on essentially barely any volume compared to previously. So now we can see some size hopping on 50. So this is the next level I'm looking to drop. And if these 50s drop, I'm really expecting a move back down to 53 flat, and that was kind of my target for the trade, right around that area. So now we're seeing some size at the 50s again.
Sam, what's VWAP?
So I don't have VWAP on this chart, but I think it was right around this area. Since VWAP was probably a little, just because of the huge gap, VWAP might have been a little screwed up, but I'm pretty sure VWAP was around the $53 area. So that's where I'm expecting to close the trade. That's a good 1 point, as well as VWAP, and there's going to be a lot of more value buyers in that area. So now we can see the size is starting to lighten up in these 50s. We're getting that last kind of push retest. So we get another lower high on really low volume, and then this is that next push down to 50.
You see how the tape went back up to that 75-ish area? Couldn't really stay up there very much, and then got back to the lows in the low 50s really quickly. So it went back up to the prior resistance area, flickered there, and then immediately came very quickly down to the prior support around 50. That's a sign of weakness. That's a tape reading level 2 signal of weakness.
Yeah. And that's it. This is something I'm expecting too. If you're in like an earnings trade like this, and you can just see how thick it is on the tape, you can't be getting spooked by some of these pullbacks. You have to expect some type of pullbacks, and some of these extended pullbacks you get are going to offer a more extended move to the downside. So it's almost better to see these pullbacks, because then more shorts are going to get involved and price is going to end up going lower. And then this is the last kind of key point on the tape. You can see there's really big size in front of 40. But the offers are a little thicker here. And then we see a really nice flush. And then this is also the bottom of that consolidation range. So yeah, so right when 41s drop, we see an instant flush down to 30s and then right down to 20s. So now it's just getting sold on that kind of breakout of the consolidation range. And so right here, I'm targeting 53 as kind of like the main level. It's a pretty strong support level intraday.
Sam, I think when that drops that steeply, like it just did right there, so close to VWAP, I think you got to take some of that off. In the low teens, I think you want to take off maybe a third.
Yeah. I mean, those momentum breaks, a lot of shorts are going to be covering, so you're going to get some type of pop. So I definitely should have been scaling out of this position. And it's also approaching the 100-day EMA. You can see on that other smaller chart. So there's a little bit of battle in these 15s, and right when 15 drops, we get that flush down to 53. And right here, I'm not expecting another just flash, like another quick selling flash. I'm expecting this to kind of consolidate in this range for a while or bounce. So you'll see I end up 53 is holding, 53 drops, but then it starts to rebid a little bit. So that's the sign right there, kind of similar to my setup or my entry for getting short. Now this is kind of inverse, where we see instead of 53 dropping and we see continued selling, 53 will drop and then instantly rebid, which is a sign of strength, especially like you said, price is approaching VWAP, it's approaching support. This is an earnings play off of really good earnings. So when you see like this 53 level drop and continue to hold like this, that should be your true sign to get flat. So we see it drop again. We see a little bit, but it really should drop. We see these 93s. In reality, 53 should be the level. If 53 drops, we should get a flush down to the 80s.
When we're into that 53, I think you got to be half size now from your 54s, and now waiting from half size to be thinking about getting flat.
Yeah, exactly. I think I actually get flat on the next flush. I was after rewatching this tape, you can just see the true strength in this level. And so now it's starting to rebid a little higher. We get one more. Yeah, so here it is. So now we have a lot of size on the offer. We're starting to hold under this 53, but then right when it rebids, I just get totally flat, hit out of the position. I really should have considered that the first few times, because you saw how many times it dropped 53, then rebid and held above. And whenever that happens, there's usually a big sign. So it could have easily bounced 20 cents while I was still holding. I got lucky on that additional drop, but it ended up rebidding. I'll just show a little later. You can see it ends up rebidding and ends up having a pretty strong move back up. And I think it ended up going all the way back up to 54. So this is just an overall a really good tape play, watching whole number scalps, watching for those levels to drop and rebid, or having the offers lift and then instantly step back down. So that was kind of my entry and exit cue for this trade, using the level 2 in the tape.
All right, great. Appreciate it, Sam. Good example here. Hey, go ahead and click our subscribe button so you don't miss any of the videos that we're producing for you in the trading community. And please take the time to add your feedback in the comments section for what videos you'd like for us to produce next and what you found helpful from this video. From all of us at S&B, train and trade well.